From AM 1680, The Answer, this is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. And now, here's your host, Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody. An exciting week for business leaders. I'm Lance Cardoza, and we are at AM 1680, The Answer. This is our second week of Business Leaders, and I want to give you a little rundown of Business Leaders and how it all started. I'd like to thank Al Perez Sr. for making it possible here at AM 1680 in bringing business leaders to the airwaves. You can listen to us at my1680.com or right here live on AM 1680, live when we bring our business leaders into the studio. I've been doing BusinessStreetOnline.com and Business Street, the newspaper, for over 15 plus years. It started on September 11th. 2001. That was the first day when the first paper was printed. So going through that trials and tribulations of, at that time it was started by a different business owner, and I ended up acquiring it after 3-4 years in its first, its infancy of growing from September 11th, 2001, and creating it into BusinessStreetOnline.com today. And a lot of people know the Heroes in Healthcare, the Influential Women 100, and also the 40 Under 40 event. So creating events that connect business leaders and bringing them together. So it's so fitting to do this live on the radio and bring business leaders together. And on today's show, it's very exceptional to me because these two people are very close friends of mine. I have Jazz Sidhu with DTL Transport. He is the Director of Operations and also the Chief Financial Officer. With Jazz, it's very important for a business to give back to the community. And Jazz serves as the President of Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California, and the Director of Grants and Missions. Sharon Jazz is on the show. Thank you, both of you, for joining me on Business Leaders this week.
Thank you, Lance.
Cool. Thank you for having us.
Good deal. So we're going to talk a little bit about how business leaders give back to their community through this program and hear more about DTL Transport. What is DTL Transport all about? What is Jazz Sidhu all about? And find a way, how do you connect to your community through your organization, and what you do with Susan G. Komen, and we'll get a little bit about into Susan G. Komen and what's happening here in Fresno, in Northern California, and all in the 29 counties of Susan G. Komen. But Jazz, tell the listeners a little bit about Jazz Sidhu and where Jazz Sidhu started and got through your journey and what DTL Transport is.
Oh, thank you, Lance. I was born in India, from the state Punjab in India. Moved to the U.S., in the Orange County area when I was at the age of 12. Lucky enough to be here. I love this country. Started going to school there. One of my first jobs at age 15 and a half, I was lucky enough to work at Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. Super excited. Couldn't go wrong.
What job? You come to the United States and your first job is Disneyland. I mean, it's almost a dream come true.
It is. And everybody would ask, what did you do there? What did you do there? Were you Mickey Mouse? That's the first question. But actually, what I did is I started out as a dishwasher in the Mexican restaurant in Frontierland. But what a blessing, to at least have a job and work and support our family and do some good things out of it.
Good deal. And in working for Disneyland, I'm sure, because they are exceptional at customer service and through A to Z, I'm sure there's a procedure and a process to everything they do, and sort of maybe laid the groundwork and your upbringing, I'm sure, as well, on who you become today and as a business leader.
Absolutely. And, let me just go back just a little bit. When I was in India, I was in a boarding school. It was a military British boarding school, so I learned a lot of things out of there, like how to approach things in life, even at a younger age. They're pretty strict, and they want to make sure that you understand that life is not easy. You got to go out there, work hard, make it happen. That it's just not going to come on a plate and just be sat right in front of you.
Actually, and I think a lot of people have, and let's get a little bit into it, into the weeds a little bit, that people seem to think other people come to our country and they take our jobs, or you hear about that all the time. But I hear all the time when I see people come into the United States and are involved in our country and business leaders, they have a sense of drive that sometimes if you're grown up with everything handed to you, that you don't go get it. You think it's just going to be handed to you. And I think one of the biggest lessons that a young person, maybe listening to the show or catching this on my1680.com, that it's not handed to you. You have to go after everything that you want in life, and in that culture, and you were talking about, I see that. They come here and they'll work really hard and support their family and achieve. And not everybody succeeds. There's trials and tribulations with everything. So talk to me about that upbringing. So what molded you into being a go-getter? Was it the family upbringing, as the culture?
That has a lot to do with it. And obviously, when it's such a big change going from one country to another, you see your parents working so hard every day to support the family. It's myself, and I have one other sibling, my younger brother. But they worked very hard, and it made me think twice, like, hey, wait a minute. I can't be just sitting here. I need to do something as well to help out the family. And, and they supported me, and they said, hey, as long as you get good grades, you can go to work at the same time as you're going to school. But that was a priority, is to have good grades. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to work.
And education is like number one.
Absolutely.
That's one of the biggest things. And that comes from the culture of the family union, making sure that every member of the family is educated in a field or something that they're going to use in the industry they're working in to succeed.
Absolutely.
So you get through Disneyland. So you're working at Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, and dishwashing, and I'm sure you were enjoying every day of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Where did it go from there?
Well, just real quick, when I got a promotion there, I actually got to make guacamole every day, which was great.
Oh,
so
hey.
Today, I'm known as the best guacamole maker out of all of our family. So I do hold that title.
Thank you, Disneyland.
Yes, correct. So after that, then we moved here to Fresno in, 1989, at the end of 1989, and I went to Clovis West High School, northeast side of Fresno here. I was lucky enough, my mom was an RN, and she got a job at... back then it was Valley Medical Center. I think you remember off of Kings Canyon out there on Cedar Avenue. So they did good for us. They said, hey, we're going to move to Fresno. There's a great opportunity for your mother. She's a RN. They're giving her a good job. And so we moved her to Fresno, and then I started delivering pizzas. I was a pizza delivery guy.
Oh, there you go. Customer
Round
service.
table. Yeah.
Learning customer service the hard way.
Correct.
So when you come here to Fresno, and you mentioned your mother, and it's sort of that is a tie on how one of the organizations you're very passionate about, and having Sharon Johnson here with Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California, that passion of creating breast cancer awareness. We'll get into a little more about you've lost your mother to breast cancer and how important that was to you. And it's sort of not only giving back to a community is very important, but being passionate about the organization that you stand behind. And that's, I think, part of the reason why you're the president of Susan G. Komen today, because you're your mother.
Well, I thank God for giving me the opportunity to help others. When I saw my mom go through breast cancer, to go through the treatments, and her being an RN, it was still diagnosed at a later stage. It just broke my heart, and I said, why aren't we out there doing something? My passion is to, even if I can save one life by going out and and helping. That's all I want in life, is to help everybody, to make them aware of this terrible disease, and whatever options they have. To go through those with them and help in their journey and to get better, to save lives.
And what you've done in your service, you've already done with Susan G. Komen, you have saved lives. And I know that we've brought people to the messaging of making sure that they're getting checked and the treatment. And we got just a couple minutes more, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about DTL Transport, coming here to Fresno and getting into that and what led to DTL Transport, and also bringing Sharon Johnson into the fold to talk a little bit about Susan G. Komen, which you're very passionate about, Jazz. And just in a minute or so you come here to Fresno. Mom, you're here several years before she becomes diagnosed with breast cancer. And what happens at that time?
Well, it was something new to me. I didn't even really. I wasn't prepared. Nobody was prepared, especially with my mom being in the health industry at an RN. You're like, okay, you know what? She's there every day. She takes care of herself. She does probably the self exams. She's got great doctors to work with. Nobody's prepared ever. hear that news, that hey, you might have breast cancer. And for her, it was at a later stage. It was something that was very hard to deal with. She was in her early to mid-50s when she was diagnosed and passed away in her later 50s. So, it was difficult for the family.
It was tough. And it was something that was where you wanted to give back, and you wanted to bring awareness to that. And I encourage business people all the time to give back to the community and find those organizations, those nonprofits that you want to support, and support with passion and get behind it with passion, and you certainly do, Jazz. My guest today here on Business Leaders is Jazz Sidhu with DTL Transport. He also serves as the president of Susan G. Komen Northern and Central California. I have Sharon Johnson in the studio. When we come back, we'll be talking to Sharon Johnson and Jazz Sidhu.
This is Christy Burkhart, Executive Director of Pregnancy Care Center. After more than 30 years of ministry, Pregnancy Care Center has developed 3 key ways to impact those that we serve to choose life when faced with an unexpected pregnancy. Number 1, we are here for her, first and foremost. While the client is sitting in front of us, it is essential that we see her. She is valuable and uniquely created in God's image, and our job is to show her compassion and respect. In doing so, that value and respect for life is much more easily transferred from her to the life of her child. In serving and honoring our client, caring for her, no matter the circumstances, babies' lives are spared. Number 2, helping the guy step up and equipping him to support her so that together they can choose life. Through male advocacy and pregnancy options education, he is better equipped to respond in such a way that his view is heard and she feels supported. What better help and hope does she have in this unexpected crisis than for her man to step up and lead the way? Number 3, Pregnancy Care Center strives to build a culture of life in our community through education. Education regarding healthy relationships, fetal development, and the sanctity of human life. We accomplish this in and out of our counseling rooms. We recognize that education, not only in an unexpected pregnancy, but prior to one, can help women and families be held back from the devastation of abortion. Our community outreach efforts provide these resources to young people to demonstrate their value and equip them to wait until marriage for intimacy. Thank you for partnering with Pregnancy Care Center to build a culture of life in our community. For more information or how to get actively involved, find us at ministry.pregnancycarecenter.com. That's ministry.pregnancycarecenter.com.
This is an announcement for all people who want to take a risk-free challenge to whiten their teeth in 5 minutes. By calling now, you can whiten your teeth in 5 minutes using clinically proven power swabs. This risk-free challenge is for people whose smile has been yellowed by coffee, tea, red wine, or smoking. The Power Swabs 5-minute challenge is available by responding to this advertisement. If lines are busy, try again. Because the 5-minute challenge is exclusive, it's not available in drugstores. Power Swabs was formulated by Dr. Martin Ginniker and whitens teeth with a patented tooth detergent and whitening agent. It's so effective, we challenge you to try it for 5 minutes to see how white your smile can be. Get it risk-free. Dial 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201. Transform your smile into a wow, you look great smile. Dial 1-800-204-1201. That's 1-800-204-1201.
Hi, I'm Rick Bentley, formerly of the Fresno Bee. I now have a TV show. You can catch me on the Coca-Cola Broadcasting channels with my new show called TV Beat with Rick Bentley. Now, what I'm going to do on this show is what I did for my TV column for 18 years. I'm going to try to give you some insight to what's going on in local television and radio. Will be news. I'll give you some updates on hirings and firings. Each week I also plan to have a special guest, somebody who I believe can give you some insight in what's going on in the local media world. The idea is to be a very interactive show, so what I need you to do is sort of check out the website at www.rickbentleytvbeat.com. There you can get information about where you can find all the airings of the show and information about how to connect with me.
Watch Rick Bentley's TV Beat each Saturday at 6:30 p.m. on KGMC, Channel 43.5, and Xfinity Comcast, Channel 378.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody. We're back here at Business Leaders. I want to thank our in-house producer here, Brian. This is my first time working with Brian, and Brian is a true pro here at AM 1680. Thank you, Brian. And my guest this week, I have Sharon Johnson with Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California, and also Jazz Sadu, the Director of Operations and the Chief Financial Officer of DTL Transport. And just before the break, Jazz, we were talking about a passion of a business leader and giving back to the community. And you were in L.A., you worked at Disneyland, you came up here to Fresno with your family, originally from India. The culture of go get it, get an education, go out there and get what you want. It's not handed to you. And you've certainly done that, and we'll get into DTL Transport and what you're doing with them today. But at the same time, before we went to the break, you talked about losing your mother, Honoria, and she was late diagnosis, I believe, with breast cancer, and then she lost her battle. So you wanted to give back, and that's why we have Sharon Johnson on the show too, and Susan G. Komen. And Sharon, give us a little bit about Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California, your involvement, and you've been involved also for a reason of passion.
That's correct. We've just recently merged at the beginning of the year, and we did that with the Sacramento Valley affiliate. We joined the Sacramento Valley affiliate and the Central Valley affiliate to strengthen operations and to really increase our impact and also increase our service area. So I've been with Susan G. Komen going on 11 years as an employee, but I actually started as a volunteer in 2003 as the education chair on the board of directors, and then went to work 2006. So,
and not everybody knows what Susan G. Komen, what we do, and what Susan, and I say what we do, I'm very involved with Susan G. Komen and also with Jazz, with DTL Transport, and working closely with you folks, but tell everybody what Susan G. Komen does.
We provide access to breast cancer education, screening, and treatment. And we have a bold goal of reaching by 2026 that we reduce breast cancer deaths by 50%. So considering that bold goal, we're really stepping it up. Probably going to do a bold goal tour, which is a mobile mammography tour, so that we can provide access to mammograms for all 29 counties.
And a lot of times it's late-stage diagnosis, and it's areas, maybe of a rural area that doesn't have treatment. So when they're in the late-stage diagnosis, and to go back with Jazz too, probably the education, the treatments have progressed so much since that time. So not only it's awareness, but it's catching it in time and doing something about it, being proactive. Correct?
That's correct. Now, in our service area, we have about 3.2 million women. Of those diagnosed with breast cancer, about 35%, this is dramatic, 35% are diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer. So we have to do something to eliminate that.
And what is the reason for that, too? Is it just people are too busy and they don't think to get checked on time? Or
Well, there's that, but we also have to consider we're so multicultural in this part of California, in Central and Northern California, that there's so many disparities, language disparities, financial disparities, educational disparities. So what we try to do is eliminate those disparities by providing bilingual education, helping with the no-cost mammograms. Also, transportation is a big deal. So some of our grants include a transportation component to where they pay for women to come in and have mammograms, or if they've already been diagnosed, to ensure that a breast cancer survivor continues treatment.
Absolutely. So when, Jazz, you get involved, you lose your mother, she passes away to breast cancer. It's probably years in between that you were searching for something and that you wanted to make a difference in that area. What was it that you came upon Susan G. Komen and made you interested in teaming up with Sharon and Susan G. Komen here in Central Valley?
Yeah, it took me a few years, as it does with anybody that, you have a death in the family. It takes you a while. But I'm sitting there one day with my friends, and I said, hey, I want to do a golf tournament. I want to get a bunch of our friends together, and let's see, what we can do and maybe raise a little money And they're like, well, what for? What are you going to do with the money? And I said, well, I heard of Susan G. Komen and about the great things that they do for breast cancer. And I think I'd like to donate some money. What do you guys think? And everybody said, yeah, we'll support as much as we can. So we had the first year we had about 25 players. Not many, but it helped. It was not a big check, but it was something that we, everybody donated and everybody,
they supported you.
They supported me.
They supported you and came together.
So then that's when I met Sharon. I called, Sharon. I said, hey, I've got a little check for you, something I did from a golf tournament. And she was like, no problem, very happy. She came down, visited me in the office, and gave her a check. And then, the next year, and then the year after. So the last 2 years, we've actually ended up selling out. 144 players every year. And so far, we've raised over $50,000.
Oh, congratulations!
From this, and in 4 years. So I think that's a great thing. That's something I won't ever stop doing, as long as I can, is to get everybody together, make them aware of this terrible disease, and and we get all the golfers out there, and the men are out there. They're looking at all this information that we're giving them in packets, and one gentleman asked me, well, what about men? And I said, well, men get it too. Men don't know that.
They can get breast cancer as well.
They can get breast cancer as well. And Sharon knows, and Sharon helped me out, talked a little bit about it, and really educated them that when men get it, it's a little bit more, scarier.
It's an aggressive stage.
It's a very aggressive stage.
I'm sure that they wait too long before they get it checked.
Precisely.
Yeah.
They do wait too long. They're in denial.
Yeah.
And if they find a lump on their chest wall or near their breast or whatever, it makes them a little uncomfortable, but most men don't like to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So it's really at that last minute that they decide, and unfortunately, so many of the gentlemen that do go in to be checked are in the later stages.
Yeah, and we had a gentleman here, I remember, at Race for the Cure, which this year is October 1st at Chichansi Park, and we'll get into that later in the program, but Harold Kelly, and he passed away. It was heart disease.
Heart disease, yes.
He passed away of, but Harold was a big advocate, and that's when it opened my eyes to it, that I didn't realize that men could get breast cancer as well.
He was a real champion, great guy too. But he actually, one of the most prominent times that he advocated was at a Fresno State basketball men's game.
Wow. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of people. A lot of people think, well, it's about the women, and it's about the men supporting the women as well, and getting out there, and education is king. And I think being aware of the issue and to be able to help somebody along and talk. A lot of times I think it's socially, years ago it was not acceptable to talk about it, but talk. If you feel something is not right, get a second opinion, do everything you can. Today's program of Business Leaders, I have Jazz Sidhu with DTL Transport, and he's also the president of Susan G. Komen Northern and Central California. We're here with Sharon Johnson as well with Susan G. Komen, and we're talking about a business leader and also supporting his community as well. And Jazz Sidhu and his partners there at DTL Transport certainly do that. We're going to talk to Jazz when we come back from the break about his involvement that led to DTL Transport and what DTL Transport is all about here in the San Joaquin Valley and all over the nation. We'll be right back with Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
A little smarter.
What you've been talking about rings rife through this area.
And a lot more informed.
I'm a black man in America. I'm a survivor.
It's Jim Franklin Live.
Just wanted to say I like the show, dude.
Weekday mornings at 8 on AM 1680, The Answer.
Just announced. During the Ford Summer Sales Event, get a Ford F-150 with 0% financing for 60 months, plus an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in. It's summer's hottest deal on the award-winning Built Ford Top F-150. Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, and save big on the Ford F-150. Get 0% financing for 60 months, plus $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Hurry into the summer sales event, going on now only at your Ford dealer. thus selling based on 2016 sales. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade Assist Cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle, or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new delivery from dealer stock by July 5th, 2017.
Do you believe that kids today need a caring adult in their lives? Hi, this is Ed Kazmarek with Fresno Madera Youth for Christ. We believe kids need more than that. It takes at least 7 caring adults, a parent, a coach, a pastor, a YFC mentor, to help kids along the difficult journey of being a teenager. Life can be overwhelming. The Youth for Christ team serves at over 35 ministry sites across Fresno and Madera counties, bringing the good news of hope in Jesus Christ. Support Youth for Christ. Visit yfcnow.org today.
Hey, it's David Wilson, host of Grape Encounters Radio. You know, in my line of work, I get to taste lots of good wine and some that I wish I could forget. What excites me most is when I discover winemakers who make more than one showstopper and do it year after year. That being said, when I first tasted the wines of Cardella in the Central Valley of California, I was stunned by how perfectly they were made. Breathtaking Barbera, scintillating Sangiovese, magnificent Malbec, and loads of other rock star wines. I was blown away by Cardella's wines well before I learned they were raking in gold medals at some of America's most prestigious competitions. The awesome people at Cardella understand their land and their grapes and what it takes to be world class. Every wine they make is exceptional. I promise you that. You can order their wines online at cardellawinery.com. Or for a real treat, visit their beautiful tasting room in Mendota.
Evangel Home has been serving homeless women and children in crisis for 60 years with compassion and under the leadership of Christ Jesus. Evangel Home has changed with the times and provides the kinds of services that make the most difference in the lives of women and children seeking a life off the streets of Fresno. Building on the life-changing acceptance of God's love for all His creations, women are taught skills to make better decisions and provide for themselves and their children. With Evangel Home's care, women become more positive role models and better mothers, breaking the cycle of continued despair. Evangel Home has been blessed with support from citizens of the greater Fresno area, and more needs to be done. Please join the home team to support Evangel Home's important ministry. Please visit evangelhome.org or call 264-4714. Evangel Home's motto is Christ leads, people care, and lives change. Please seek Christ's leadership when you visit evangelhome.org. That's evangelhome.org, doing good for 60 years with compassion for homeless women and children.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody. We're in studio today here at 1680 AM, and I have some real special guests. We've been listening to Sharon Johnson with Susan G. Komen, and also a good friend of mine, Jazz Sadhu with DTL Transport. And we talked a little about Jazz's journey in business and what led you to Fresno, Jazz. And so you land here in Fresno, and you've got that background of working for one of the biggest companies in the world, Disneyland, and getting in there and seeing what that's like. And then here you are in Fresno. And while you're in Fresno during that time, at a young age, you lose your mother to breast cancer. And that sort of, how old were you when you lost your mother? I wasn't sure.
Well,
you still are young. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A man never tells his age.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it was unfortunate. It was a young age. You know, and as a father, I always, you know, dreamt of my boys having a grandmother, even, you know, when they're older, and they get to experience how the grandparents spoil the, you know, their grandkids, and that was something that, you know, always kind of something that I wanted for my boys, but unfortunately, you know, it just, that was not what was.
She was taken away too soon.
She was taken away too soon. But that's soon. You know.
So that's your passion, and that's sort of why you want to change that for other families, and that's why you are the president of Susan G. Komen. And you said before the break you had a golf tournament raising funds, and then Sharon, which she does very well. She had that rope, that lasso that she roped you in and brought you in, and all of a sudden now you're the president of Susan G. Comen's board.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't even know what happened. It was just so quick. But Sharon's very good at what she does, and I'm blessed to have her part of Susan G. Komen and to work besides her every day. Susan G. Komen wouldn't be who we are here in the Central Valley if it wasn't for Sharon Johnson.
Yeah, and Jazz,
I appreciate that.
And I'm sure, and you would echo this, Sharon, too. Your mother is proud of what you're doing and be able to change the lives of other families here in Fresno and all over the 29 counties where our executive director, Kelly's out of Sacramento, and we cover a large area now. And doing good work with mobile mammography, with the motor coach, with Life-Saving Images and our partnership there. So they're doing some great things and big things, and we're going to talk about the Race for the Cure on October 1st at Chancey Park. But Jazz, you're here in Fresno, and you're a young guy, and you're going to make your way in business. And what happens once you get here and you get through that?
Well, while I was going through finishing high school, like I said, I was working at the Round Table delivering pizzas. But after I graduated, while still taking classes in college and moving on to college, I decided that, I was going to work in car sales, see how that is. So yes, I've been a car salesman, but I worked for Michael Automotive. I'm sure everybody's aware of them.
And you'll learn about financing there, which you're
Exactly.
the chief financial officer, so you got an education there.
Correct. So I was with Michael's for a long time. I got promoted and became the sales manager for Michael Cadillac, Michael Hummer, and then moved on to the Porsche, Volkswagen, Audi store. That experience helped a lot. And in that time, I met a great friend of mine who I call my brother now, Lucky Dosanjh, and his father was the one who started DTL Transport about 25 years ago, or 26 now, in 1991. And we kind of talked about, he said, hey, I need some help at DTL, and we want to grow, we want to get bigger. We're doing fine as it is, but we want to get bigger. We want to have some assets. We want to, get some trucks, and not just do the brokerage part. And so we kind of sat down, did a little business plan and how I would get in there. And so like I told him, I said, if I'm going to come into detail transport, I'm not going to come in just right on top. Let's go ahead and I'm going to start dispatching. I'm going to, start working with drivers and make sure I start from the bottom. So when I do get to the top, and if I am, helping a driver out and talking to them, I don't want them ever to think that, hey, you don't even know what you're doing.
You're not
just
part of the
bottom.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get in there with DTL, and to let people know, DTL Transport is not just a trucking company. It started as a brokerage firm that was brokering
freight loads.
And the loads were refrigerated loads, so your chocolates
Correct.
And the meats and everything produce all over the country.
Yeah, everything perishable. All of our tractors are refrigerated. So we go to our primary lane was to the East Coast. So everything from here, from California or Arizona, all the produce coming, we take it all the way to the East Coast.
Wow. And how many trucks do you have out there in operation?
Well, right now with our, including our sub-haulers and our trucks themselves, our assets, we run a little over 100 a day.
Wow. All over the country. And beautiful rigs, the tractors and trailers. And the clients that you deal with, too, one of the biggest things that people say about you, and it's all over your website, is one call does it all. And you guys really do at DTL Transport. You're a very exceptional company in what you do, and a lot of the big produce companies know about DTL Transport and do business with you. And so you get Lucky, and you guys develop this very well-oiled machine that you have operating out on Golden State.
Correct. I'm always thankful for the opportunity that he gave me and the trust he had in me to help grow the company. We've got a great team at DTL Transport. I couldn't ask for a better team. Everybody works hard every day. We start at 5 in the morning. We don't stop. We get out of the office at 5, 6 o'clock, but our phones are ringing 24/7.
And you guys have drivers. Your drivers are all over the country, but you're hiring drivers all the time, I hear. And you're always looking for safe drivers, and you're rewarding safe drivers. I've heard you talk about that.
Absolutely.
And very professional with that, so you're always looking for drivers. And how can people find out more about your company? Then go to your website?
Absolutely. Real easy. It's dtltransport.com.
dtltransport.com. If you're just tuning in on the radio here at AM 1680, we listen to Business Leaders every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. I have an exceptional show today because I have Jazz Sadu with DTL Transport and also Sharon Johnson with Susan G. Komen. Jazz, you sit on the board as the president of Susan G. Komen. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about Susan G. Komen and Susan G. Komen's big move to downtown last year for the Race for the Cure. And that's going to be happening October 1st at Chachansey Park with our partners there, the Fresno Grizzlies. And also we'll talk to Jazz about when you're a community leader, you support a nonprofit, but sometimes you also support change in your community. And one of the things that DTL Transport did was they saw a need in 2010, and they rose to the occasion and they met that need when they saw the city council having an issue with trucks parked on streets in front of houses, and DTL Transport stepped up and made a difference. Jazz, Sharon, thank you for being on the show. Don't go away. More with Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza right here on AM 1680.
Every day, Poverello House serves 1,600 meals to homeless men and women and families in Fresno County. That's equivalent to one meal for each person at a sold-out Save Mart Center concert. And we've been doing it all with the warehouse and operations center that has seen much better days. Hello, this is Cruz Avila, Executive Director for the Poverello House. Help us raise the roof and fund the construction of a new fully insulated warehouse at Poverello. Together, let's build something that will have a profound impact on our community. Donate today by visiting www.poverellohouse.org or call us at 498-6988.
Hi, Tom Bodette. According to the dad bod craze, the lumpy, less than chiseled look is now totally in. So you could say I'm in the best shape of my life. And so is Motel 6. They've updated their properties nationwide with contemporary everything, still for the same low price you've come to expect. So your wallet can feel a little pleasantly plump, too. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
Hey friend, Pat Boone here. For years I've been warning fellow Americans about the war on cash, such as we saw last year in India, where the government outlawed the use of cash overnight, creating public chaos and hardship. And now some of our own leaders want to outlaw our $100 and $50 bills right here in the USA. Well, to sort this out, I sat down with a top authority and recorded an interview. It's available now on a free CD or MP3 by calling Swiss America at 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646. I discovered why this war on cash will not end until every dollar that we earn, save, and spend can be tracked by the federal government. I want you to get your free War on Cash CD now and discover which assets still offer privacy and growth potential. Get your free War on Cash CD now, will you? 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646.
Hi, this is Skip Essick for Svenhard Swedish Bakery. You know, for most people, it's the middle of the night, but at the Svenhard Swedish Bakery in Exeter, they're up early every day, baking famous Swedish pastries from old world recipes over 100 years old. Each and every sweet roll that comes out of their ovens is carefully prepared and baked to the highest standards set by Tilda Svenhard in 1893. And then they're loaded onto their delivery trucks and brought to the store fresh each morning. And by the way, if you're up around 4 o'clock in the morning like I am every day, chances are you'll see a Svenhard's truck making deliveries. The only challenge you'll have is deciding which roll to try first. Cinnamon rolls, butter, cheese and fruit horns, raisin snails, or bear claws. Whichever you choose, and any way you eat them, you'll discover that Svenhard sweet rolls are unrivaled in quality, taste, and value. Just look for the red, white, and blue label with the Swedish maiden on the package. You'll find Svenhard's at supermarkets and club stores throughout the country. That's Svenhard Swedish Bakery. Go ahead, have another. One name, 9 locations, the lowest prices anywhere in the valley, with the highest quality furniture. It's Serrano's Furniture. The Serrano's Furniture Galleries are family-owned and operated right here in Central California for over 30 years, giving you top-name brands like Legacy, Parker House, and Klausner. The best prices on America's #1 rated mattresses like Serta, Simmons, and the iComfort Sleep System. Before you buy your furniture online, which comes to your home unassembled, visit a Serrano's Furniture Gallery near you. Serrano's strives to give you exceptional customer service as well as giving you the best price and best value. Serrano's Furniture in Fresno, Visalia, Hanford, Porterville, Madera, Tulare, Bakersfield, Delano, and Dinuba. This is the big one, the largest furniture retailer in the Valley, Serrano's. For monthly specials, visit serranosfurnituregalleries.com. Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back to Business Leaders, and hearing that commercial, Serrano's Furniture, I just want to run out and go buy me something right away. Can I just get you all fired up? I'm fired up about this show. We got Jazz to do from DTL Transport, also Sharon Johnson with Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California. Jazz, before we went to the break, your involvement with your community as involved with nonprofit Susan G. Komen, not only are you involved with nonprofits, but you're very involved with your community. In 2010, there was an issue that was raised by the Fresno City Council. Talk to us a little bit about that and what fired you up to say, hey, Lucky, my partner, we can make a difference. And what was that?
Well, the city came out with an ordinance because there was too many trucks parked on the street, semi-trucks, big trucks, over 12,000 pounds. And they saw an issue, and they came out with an ordinance that no truck can park on the street longer than 4 hours. Well, all of a sudden, that's a concern for us as well because we've got a lot of trucks.
Yeah.
Well, where do we park them? So we can't. At that point, we said, you know what? It's time to purchase a piece of land. Let's create a yard, but let's also create a yard big enough to where we can take more trucks off the street and help out the city, help out the residents that have a truck parked out in front of them and it doesn't look good, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
So let's get these trucks off the street.
And help your industry partners, guys that are out there, haulers, that they have a place to put their vehicle.
Correct. So, all of our sub-haulers and things like that, when they're carrying a load, they have to park the semi-truck in a secured environment. Otherwise, the insurance can say no to a claim if something had ever happened to that freight. So we created a fully paved, fully secured parking lot for these trucks to be parked off the street.
Okay. And DTL parking.
DTL parking, that's correct.
Parking. So DTL Transport, you house your trucks most of your trucks are all over the United States. They're on the move, but when they're home and someone is taking some time off or switching out a vehicle, DTL is in there with DTL Transport along with the community of long-haul trucks all over the country.
Correct. Yeah, our lot is about a little under 7 acres, and when we first started, we were able to park 156 trucks. So we took 156 trucks off the streets of Fresno in that neighborhood on Golden State and moved them into a secured environment.
And on Golden State, too, you're getting ready to build a brand new headquarters out in front of the place. It's a secured parking, as you talked about. So they have gate codes or keys to be able to get in and out with security on site for their vehicles during that process. A brand new pad getting ready to be laid, or if not, who's started yet. But a beautiful headquarters that I've seen some drawings of that's getting ready to happen. High-speed rails come through and took off a piece of the front end of it, but it's gave you an opportunity to do something different and reinvent the next step of DTL Transport.
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. We had the high-speed rail come through. Whatever our opinions are, it happened. We dealt with it, and now, we at that point we had a 2.5-year-old building that had to be demolished. But we look at the positive side and say, okay, time to rebuild. Let's build a new office, and we'll keep going.
Keep going and do
keep
what
on
you
trucking.
Do. Keep on trucking.
Yeah.
So through that process, you're there with Lucky, and I noticed, and this is why one of the reasons I tied Susan G. Komen and DTL Transport together. All of your beautiful rigs that travel all over the United States have the running pink ribbon, and if you've seen the ribbon of Susan G. Komen, it's the running pink ribbon to represent the races all over the country. Is that correct, Sharon?
That is.
That is. And the ribbon is all over these beautiful trucks, and it travels all over the country with the logo Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California, that's plastered all over the country. And Jazz, because of losing your mother to breast cancer and wanting to make a difference, you became the president of the organization and passionate giving back to that. Not only giving back to his community, but giving back to a nonprofit he's passionate about. So you become the president of Susan G. Komen. You meet Sharon Johnson. And Sharon is also passionate. She's passionate about why she's involved with Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California. Sharon, tell us a little bit about, you've told me the story before, but your first race you were involved, you ran into somebody.
I did. I'm a 2-time breast cancer survivor and originally diagnosed in 1999. Pardon me. And like Jazz's mom, I was in the medical field. And my first impression was, I don't have breast cancer in my family. How can this happen? But it was my first race in 2001, and this is when we were out at Woodward Park. And I met a young woman, age 32, and we quickly became friends. We walked together. And she told me about her story. She had gone to the doctor with a lump in her right breast, and her doctor told her, "You're too young. Let's just wait." Well, by the time she sought a second opinion, it was metastasized throughout her body, so it was in her brain, her bones, and her liver. She had a young daughter who was only 8 years old. Her husband left her, and she was here facing treatment all by herself, so we quickly became friends. But unfortunately, we lost her in less than a year to the date that I met her. One thing I did promise her, though, was that I would advocate for young women, all women too, that if their doctor said, let's wait on this, to give them the power to say, no, let's not wait. Encourage women by educating them with the statistics about late-stage breast cancer and the death rate. So it was tough for me for a couple of years to know where I was headed with that. I grieved for several years, and then I thought, I got to do what I promised Diane I would do, and that is doing something with Susan G. Komen. And that's when I was elected to their board.
Absolutely. In the Race for the Cure, October 1st, and that's where you had met Diane. It's the flagship event locally here for Central Valley and also in Sacramento, the big Race for the Cure, where marathon runners come in and they get their points. It's a certified race, I understand?
Yes,
yeah.
U.S. Track and Field certified.
But the whole idea of the Race for the Cure is to come out and support the organization, register, create teams, and be able to raise funds to be able to do things like the mobile mammography and services that are for breast cancer survivors, people that are going through breast cancer, correct?
Community support is key in funding these projects. If we don't have the support of the community, then the numbers of lives we can save diminishes.
And what of the proceeds? Because everybody always asks, where does my money go? Where does that happen with Susan G. Komen?
75% of the net proceeds stays in our affiliate service area to fund education, screening, and treatment, just like this mobile mammography project that we have. We have a great program where we educate women. They have a clinical breast exam the same day, followed by a mammogram. We really believe this will help the late-stage breast cancers by doing all three of these things in one day. And then 25% of the remaining proceeds help fund cutting-edge breast cancer research through the Komen Grant Program.
And so grants are also distributed here locally to local community organizations.
Yes, and throughout our service area.
Wow, in the 29 counties. When we come back here for our final segment of Business Leaders, I have Jazz Sidhu with DTL Transport, also the president of Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California, and Sharon Johnson with Susan G. Komen. We'll be right back with Business Leaders.
What happens when your desire to heal turns into a nursing degree? Your passion to teach inspires the next generation. Your business savvy grows more than the bottom line. Your heart for helping leads to a degree in social work. What happens when your calling becomes your career? Just about anything. At Fresno Pacific University, we're making every possibility possible with our evening degree completion programs designed for busy adults. Learn more at fpu.edu.
Want the inside scoop on an area? Locals always know. Want an inside advantage in your job search? Then you rely on a staffing local. We're Spherion, a 65-year workforce leader with a distinct local focus. Just last year, we helped 160,000 individuals find exciting careers. I'm Glenna Gates, and my team knows the Central Valley area well. More than a business, this is our home. and we have connections to the area's most respected companies. Gain a local career advantage and call Spherion at 559-251-4040 or visit us on the web at spherion.com.
This is Don Eskis, CEO of the Fresno Rescue Mission, letting you know that we're still here. While our downtown facility is making way for high-speed rail, we remain open 24/7. But rest assured, we will never miss a beat. Our services and programs will continue to function, never closing for even one day. That's why we need your help.
The Fresno Rescue Mission is dedicated in helping hurting and homeless people in our community. From meals to 24-hour emergency services to long-term programs, the Fresno Rescue Mission is committed to helping individuals escape their current situation.
We want you to know that 100% of your tax-deductible donations will continue to support the services we provide to the community. And at no time will the precious donations we receive be used in this reconstruction process.
To learn more about the life-changing programs and services the mission offers, call 268-0839. That's 268-0839. Or go online to fresnorm.org.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody. Just before the break, before our final segment here of Business Leaders, that you can listen every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. here on AM 1680, The Answer. Sharon Johnson was talking about her journey with a two-time survivor with breast cancer and a friend that made a difference, that created the passion that lit a fire in your heart to do something about this organization. Now you're the Director of Missions and Grants with Susan G. Komen, Northern and Central California. That passion, over the years, you've seen many races, Race for the Cure.
Yes.
And exciting that it's downtown Fresno now. What's coming new? What's exciting about this year's? And the Survivor Ceremony is always the incredible thing, but October 1st, it's going to be a lot of fun downtown Fresno.
It really is. We love the change. We think it's going to offer a different walk for our participants this year. They'll be able to go on the 5K run route. So we love that idea. There's going to be entertainment, music along the race route.
Oh.
So we're really looking forward to a different year.
A lot of fun. And I heard possibly some band and music inside the ballpark in between Survivor Ceremony and the walk and run.
We're working on all of that right now. We're anxious about that.
A lot of fun stuff going on. So, and it's just such a great environment being downtown Fresno. It's going to be on a Sunday this year, right, on October 1st.
It is. That is to help aid with the traffic difficulties.
Oh, perfect. And downtown is, it's forever changing. So there's all sorts of things going on down there. And the city of Fresno, I know you've worked very closely, has been very supportive, the police department.
Very much so.
And doing a great job. So October 1st is a Race for the Cure. The best way to get involved, get a team, make a donation, register for the Race for the Cure.
That's right. And all they have to do is go to KomenNCCalifornia.org.
Perfect. And if anybody has any questions and wants to call the Komen office, they can call you where?
That's 559-229-4255. That's the Fresno office.
It's been a great Business Leader show. I've had Jazz Sadu with DTL Transport and also Jazz, the president of Susan G. Komen. Jazz, any final words that you want to let our people know out there? What do they do to give back?
Well, they can start out by coming to the race, getting some more information from us, or calling Sharon at the phone number that she just gave. Like she said, visit KomenNCCalifornia.org.
Perfect. Thank you, Jazz. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Brian. Also my producer, Austin Sinatra, my sidekick behind me here. Thank you for listening to Business Leaders. We'll see you next week.